Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. Tinubu meets new service chiefs behind closed doors in first official engagement. Former Jigawa Governor Lamido threatened legal action over PDP chairmanship form denial. And hundreds of Cameroonians protest after rival rejects 92-year-old Biya's win. And as usual, we have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country. Aisha Saliu and Blessing Akigbe are joining from Abuja. Israel Ifirobo is in Lagos, and Sewesi Anyo joins from Benue State. We've got the details in a moment. Let's start off now with the Oworo demolition, where men of the Nigerian police deployed by the Lagos State Command to protest-prone areas on Wednesday remain stationed at designated points. One of the hotspots is Oworo, the site of recent building demolitions, where tension continued to simmer among residents. Now, as we speak, my colleague, News Central's Israel Ifirobo, is live at the scene with the updates. Good afternoon, Israel. You were there yesterday. Has anything changed since that time till now?
Well, Blessing, good afternoon to you. We are at the major bus stop here at Oworo, and to answer your question, nothing has really changed from yesterday. What we do know is that, and what we've been able to see and gather on the ground, is the fact that there is still a heavy presence of police operatives here at Oworo, and the situation is not far-fetched. The reason for this is not far-fetched. It is due to the demolitions that have happened over the weekend here in this area. The men of the police force deployed by the CP Moshujimo yesterday, they are still on the ground. They haven't moved, and that is due to the fact that there were some sort of a rumor, so to speak, that there will be demonstrations here, maybe yesterday, maybe today. Yesterday it didn't happen, and some thought that it will be today as well. And the police CP did say yesterday that his men will remain on the ground to ensure that there is no sort of disturbances here at Oworo. That's what we've been able to gather on the ground since we got here at 7 a.m. and today. The heavy presence of police operatives still very much in force, and it is holding sway. Blessings.
All right. In terms of security, Israel, what other things are we hearing from the people in that area today?
Oh, well, tensions are still at its peak right now. It continues to rise as the residents here are agitated. They are indeed not happy with the fact that that their houses were demolished in the middle of the night over the weekend. And while some of them are not happy about it, some others are just okay and contented with the compensation that was paid by the authorities just a few days before this demolitions happened. I spoke to one individual yesterday, and he said that he wasn't compensated. I spoke to a number of them yesterday, and they said there was no such thing as compensation from the authorities here at Oworo. But I do know for sure that some people got some sort of compensation ranging from 5 million naira to 3 million naira, and even as low as 300,000 naira. What else have we heard on the ground today since we got in? The people are saying that yes, their voices will be heard, and how do we go about that business, that the press and the people of Nigeria will find out. I spoke to an activist here yesterday, and he did say that the people will not remain silent. They may not have come out yesterday for any sort of demonstrations, but they are saying that they will respond at the appropriate time after their homes and houses and livelihoods were, according to them, inappropriately and without due process demolished. Blessings.
Israel Ifirobo, thank you for bringing us the update on the Oworo demolition area. And of course, I'm sure that subsequently we will get more feedback from the people around there. Thank you so much. Let's move away from that quickly. Flooding has once again hit parts of Benue State, particularly in Makurdi, following a heavy downpour that began last night and continued into this morning. Several communities are now submerged, with roads, homes and drainages severely affected. Now, many residents have been left stranded, while others are wading through floodwaters to reach safety. My colleague News Central Sewese Ayon is in Makurdi, and she joins us now live with the latest update. Sewese, what is the latest regarding the flood? I can see that you're standing in an area that is almost submerged in water. What's the latest on the flood in that area?
Okay, good afternoon, Brenton. So I'm standing right here along the new Otoko Road, just by the recently constructed Ishaya Bakut Road in Makurdi. So earlier this morning, the whole of this stretch was completely submerged in water. Earlier, I could not even stand in this position I'm standing right now. Our school children had to go into the water, their uniforms soaked, while they were trying to get to school on time. And the road was completely impossible earlier today. Cyclists and other people had to, put their bikes aside and their vehicles aside to wade through the water so that they could access their destinations. So earlier today, nobody could pass through this location. But as it is now, the water has gone down, but you can still see the devastation. When you look around, you see that something happened here, and a lot of people are still trying to come to terms with what is going on. Because while I was here, I spoke with some residents, and they said that some of the water had gone into their rooms and destroyed their property and other things. So you can see that there are some drainages that have gone down. Some electrical poles have also gone down, and there is power. There is a blackout in some locations, including in my own house. There is a blackout in my house because one of the poles in my location has gone down as a result of the rain from last night. So it's been a lot going on. People's homes have also gone down in some locations as well. I've tried to visit about 4 or 5 places this morning before I joined you here live, and I could tell you that a lot is going on in this town. However, the residents have said there have been 1 or 2, visitations from the Ministry of Water Resources and Environment, and they have tried to assess the damage that has been done by the flood. However, there has been no tangible action. There has been no action taken regarding the flooding. So what we can see is that there are new drainages coming up, and we are hoping that in due time, this yearly devastation by floods will be minimized.
All right, so thank you so much for the update, and please do stay safe. Now, in Niger, following a tanker explosion, which has so far claimed more than 57 lives since Tuesday, October 22, residents of Essa community are calling on the federal government to address long-standing road infrastructure challenges affecting the community for years. Officials of the National Emergency Management Agency says 57 people have been confirmed dead, while over 60 others are receiving treatment at the Federal Medical Center in Bida and the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Gwagwalada. Residents of the affected communities reveal that they have lived in constant fear, lamenting the poor state of the road and the frequent movement of heavy-duty tankers that continue to claim lives. They're now appealing to government authorities to take urgent action to rehabilitate the highway and improve safety standards to prevent further tragedies.
So many people in my whole house. We have 9 children, 6 female, 4 men. Sometimes, as early as possible, we wake up, we come to the main. Before we reach main road, we see dead body. We have to pick the dead body and bury it. Because of the nature of this road, the road is bad. Trader lost millions of naira on this very road. I will come back now. You will be at home. A phone will call that the person that say he will come back is dead through accident. What is the need? The first and foremost attention in which citizens demand from government is comfort of life, and our life is not comfort at this present. Nothing government can do without repairing this dangerous road for all, that we can make us happy. If we didn't elect Mr. President for a second time, you have to blame Minister of Works. We have gone around with our partners. This thing occurred as a result of a bad road, coupled with the equipping nature of our youth attitude. And according to eyewitness here, they had issue with the driver, and the whole thing turned into flame.
quite a sad situation there. But let's move now to Abuja, where policymakers, public and private sector leaders, elder statesmen, critical thinkers, and young innovators have converged in Abuja for the Oxford Global Think Tank Leadership Conference. Themed Better Leadership for a Better Nigeria, the forum seeks to examine the challenges and opportunities shaping governance and to chart strategies for responsive, ethical and transformational leadership as Nigeria marks her 65th independence anniversary. News Central has been following the story, and right now Aisha Saliu joins us live from the venue of the conference. Hello Aisha, can you give us more details about the deliberation going on? We understand that the theme is Better Leadership for a Better Nigeria. What has been the highlight of the conversation so far?
Thank you so much, Blessings. Well, all morning we have been here conversing, so many global leaders here, even local leaders, talking about how to move Nigeria's leadership forward. But how then do we discuss this if not, first of all, talking about the challenges before proffering solutions? And part of the challenges they stated, it's not just even a Nigeria problem, it's a continental problem, saying that Africa's problem is failure of leadership, which has had a resultant effect on the functionality of the continent. And they are therefore leading a charge for taking responsibility, accountability, and also inclusivity. Another challenge is that leaders and governors do not seem to, listen to their followers where suggestions are made for improvement. Another challenge is that corruption and state capture has become one of the major issues hampering leadership efforts in the country and also in the continent. And part of the solutions they have stated is that leaders shouldn't surround themselves with sycophants for any progressive nation. They're saying that leaders should ensure that they surround themselves with people who are informed, people who mean well for the nation, and they should be willing to take the advice of these people and also listen to the people they claim to be leading. And also they're talking about the possibility for better leadership when all hands are on deck. So this is about the principle of inclusivity, ensuring that all sectors, everybody is carried along so that there can be better and improved leadership. And part of the sessions that we've had so far since morning, we just broke out from the Economic Leaders Panel, where the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy also stated that although we're talking about leadership, but he's saying that the present administration has taken the charge on leadership, where he said the economy is now better, although when the administration came, they removed fuel subsidy, which had an effect on the people, but there has been palliative measures, cash handed out to people and he said, according to his assessment, it's been some form of alleviation for the people. Well, the conversation is still ongoing in there. Leaders are still speaking, and also a book launch is underway, just so that Nigeria can be on the right pedestal towards leadership, governance, and ensuring inclusivity.
Aisha Saliu, thank you for giving us an update, a very comprehensive one at that, on the OGTT conference focusing on transformational leadership. Thanks for the update. Right now, we go on a short break. You're still live with us on the 12 report. When we come back, family demands justice as Abia police launch investigation over alleged murder. More stories, stay tuned. Many thanks for staying with us on the 12 report. Now to more stories. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Joash Amupitan, has met with the members of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. This meeting focused on strengthening collaboration among security agencies to ensure peaceful and credible elections across the country. News Central's Blessing Akibe is live at the venue with more details. Hello, Blessing. What would you say that the key highlights from this meeting with stakeholders has been so far?
Good afternoon, Blessing. So right now, you can see behind me at the INEC headquarters here in Abuja, where the new INEC Chairman Joash Amupitan just met with other election security stakeholders to talk more on the upcoming Anambra election that will be taking place in November 8, 2025. That is talking about next month here. That's a week or 2 weeks from now. And they actually talked about some strategies, more on election measures, election security measures that should be taken in order to make sure that citizens, or rather voters, who actually come out to give how they vote, do that in the rightful way. And some of the strategies that was actually talked on was on enhanced surveillance and improved personnel, and also intelligence gathering. And the chairman actually noted that out of the 578 polling units that is in Anambra State, 2 were actually excluded due to lack of registration. And also, the representative of the police, which is the Inspector General of Police, his name is Abayomi Sokunle, actually mentioned that other than the Interagency Consultative Committee, no other security agency should be allowed to actually monitor the upcoming elections, despite any other one, that is the vigilante and other security agencies. Then they also talked about the election deployment that is going to hold on the 3rd of November 2025.
All right, Blessing, thank you so much. I'm glad that you gave us the details, because I was going to ask if there were any other plans, but thank you for giving us the update of the meeting, and I'm sure that we'll still get more information, and News Central is on standby to bring the viewers more information. Thank you. Let's still stay in Abuja, where education sector's stakeholders have called for reforms in Nigeria's education sector aimed at tackling declining education standards, crumbling infrastructure, and rising insecurity across the country. This was during the 46th plenary of the Unity Schools Old Students Association, which held in Abuja, with the theme Politics and Governance, Usosa's Role in the Nigeria Project. The former Minister of Health, Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu, urged members to contribute to the nation's unity, harnessing the potentials of Nigeria's diversity and giving back to the society. Our correspondent, Blessing Ahibe, who I just spoke to, compiled this report.
In 1966, Nigeria took a bold step towards national unity by establishing unity schools designed to groom children from every part of the country through education, teaching them to learn, live, and build lifelong bonds across ethnic and cultural lines. For decades, these schools served as melting pots of cultures, languages, and ideas, producing some of the country's most distinguished leaders. However, in recent times, as experts lament the falling standard of education in the country, experts here at this plenary of old students say that this is the time for them to give back to the country.
There's been a deterioration in quality and some of the outcomes, not with every indicator, but quite a number of indicators. Whether you're reading the NECO results, or you're reading the WAEC results, or you're reading the advocacy for even bringing down the JAM cutoff marks, you can see clearly the competence and capacity of people graduating from schools has also deteriorated. We have challenges with the teachers' welfare, there are challenges with the curriculum, there are challenges with linking even the school outcomes to the real market, those linkages. Are we really preparing these kids for tomorrow? How digitized are we?
If the government invested so much, and some of us became privileged to have that kind of education under that kind of circumstance and in such an environment, then duty bound, we must give back to Nigeria. Therefore, we must be part of promoting the Nigeria project.
Many here also call on government to put in place mechanisms to enable old students contribute to the successes of education and unity colleges, tackle insecurity, and promote unity in diversity.
Having a governance structure that incorporates the Ministry of Education and federal government representatives and Unity School, old students, alumni body, like a governing councils of schools.
We ask the government to actually do more. They're already trying, and we're already seeing some of the results, but we ask for more so that security can become how it used to be when we were children.
As the 46th plenary of the Unity Schools Old Students Association comes to an end, many here are optimistic that Nigeria's education sector can return back to its days of glory.
A bit of politics now. Former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido has threatened legal action against the People's Democratic Party if he's not allowed to purchase the nomination form for the party's national chairmanship position ahead of its upcoming convention. Lamido visited the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja on Monday to obtain the form, but was told by party officials, including the National Secretary, Senator Samuel Ayawu, and the National Organizing Secretary, Umar Bature, that they had no information on its availability. Speaking to journalists, the former governor expressed displeasure with the situation, insisting that as a founding member, he has every right to contest and participate in the party's internal democratic process. Now, the African Democratic Congress has accused the federal government of weaponizing poverty and manipulating food price data for political advantage. In a statement by its spokesman, Bolaji Abdullahi, the ADC faulted the Tinubu administration's claims of increased local food production and a fall in prices, describing them as dishonest and misleading. The party argued that insecurity and banditry continue to cripple agricultural output across the country, insisting that any current drop in prices is temporary, unsustainable, and driven by panic rather than policy or planning. And now the bribery and misappropriation case involving former Kano State Governor Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, his wife Hafsat Umar, and 6 others has been stalled at the Kano High Court. The case filed by the Kano State government contains 11 counts of bribery, conspiracy, and diversion of public funds running into billions of naira. Proceedings were delayed after the defense failed to file pending applications. While the prosecution was ready with its witnesses, defense counsels cited incomplete filings and requested more time. Justice Amina Adamu Aliyu ordered all motions to be filed and served before the next hearing, now adjourned to November 26, 2025. The case remains one of Nigeria's most high-profile corruption trials. And to Abia State now, police say they have commenced investigation into the strange death of one Wisdom Okori, a resident of Amauba in Bende community, last Friday, while honoring an invitation by the police at the divisional office in Bende. Reports say that a 38-year-old man had gone to the station himself with no signs of ailment, but said to have died the same day in police custody with the family unaware until rumors filtered in about his predicament. News Central's Chinwe Ugele completes the report.
On Saturday, October 25, 2025, Bende community was agog to know the cause of Wisdom Okori's sudden demise, leading to shootings by the police to disperse the crowd that had gathered at the Bende police division. Upon inquiry, it was gathered that the said young man allegedly died in police custody the previous day. The elder brother Festus only requests justice to be served.
The Gaza police station. Maybe it's in the police. That's about the daughter. Hamako very well. It's about the daughter. The Bahaso Mba. I will register to picture. Janyam Levy, a home I here. Masio say, Lepanebon, if we are Russia hospital, Daga, actually carry 5 masses, Chatake. Gaza fence, my brother.
His heartbroken mother, Esther, demands to know the cause of Wisdom's sudden death.
Neighbors
and those close to him say he was a vibrant young man who worked for a notable politician from that community.
Police people have murdered the boy. A gentleman had been heartbroken since I had the information that the police people killed him. It is not him that decided to go there. They invited him to come to the station.
I want to be a one in your Nahachu, on a heading so. He hovered a buterian so. Yana Majime. Oga Haprugi Hasigi Riha, Gavamakoni so.
The family has equally sought legal intervention in their struggle to unravel the truth.
I'm at in Hebrew, my junior brother, Wisdom Okori. I'm okay with it. And the way him they made without the team of lawyer and in them room, because I have the reason why only here like a job where that police station or Lotakwa. So how was recover me Hebrew and him along with so many things involved, something like autopsy, General and the government of Abia State help them make all those things.
The police commissioner, Danladi Isa, visited the community on Saturday, while the youth of Bende community were protesting the killing, assuring that investigation will reveal the real situation that led to the passing of the young man.
As I'm talking to you, all the policemen that were involved in that interrogation, they are under arrest.
Although no one knows for now the cause of this young man's death, but one thing has been established. He passed away in the hands of the police at Bende Division in Bende. For News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
Another sad situation indeed. Now, back to economic matters. A new initiative aimed at closing the gap between the private sector and government has been unveiled in Abuja. The initiative by the Africa CEO Club, in partnership with development organizations, seeks to promote collaborations that stimulate economic growth, drive policy reform, and advance sustainable development on the continent. The president of Africa CEO Club, Fatoumata Gaye, says that the initiative will create a digital platform that connects entrepreneurs and acts as a bridge between businesses and government entities.
The Africa CEO Club mission and agenda for the future is to build hubs, business hubs across the continent where CEOs and people of development will be able to find a hub where they can meet, connect, build, invest, and grow. One thing about me is I always say that it is very important to vet, verify, and understand everything that you go into, because there's a lot of things that is happening across the continent, not just in one country, but across the continent, where people wear the hat of being African, lobbying for investment, and then getting into things that are not actually things that we should be proud about. So the CEO will has a platform that we are actually working on, that will be a digital platform that will have access for people to be members. And before you become members, there's a full verification process that comes around it. The Africa CEO Club will be an intermediary between the businesses, the investments that are coming into these countries, and also working with partners like Copenhagen. They will help us facilitate these things and move this a little bit more further.
We want to leverage on a lot of experiences and exposure to be able to partner with the African CEO Club, to be able to add significant value on the private enterprise of Africa. And then we also want to impact on emerging.
The Edo State government has reaffirmed its commitment to promoting moral, spiritual, and cultural development across the state. News Central's Amenze Bazwaye reports that this assurance came during the grand finale of the 2025 Quranic recitation competition held at the Otaru Palace in Auchi. Representing Governor Monday Okpewolo, Secretary to the state government, Umar Musa Ekilo, commended the organizers for nurturing young scholars and advancing Islamic education in Edo State. He also lauded the Otaru of Auchi, His Royal Highness Aliru Momo, for his sustained support, describing the event as a platform for moral reawakening and unity among Muslim youths. The acting coordinator of the competition, Sheikh Hamza Usman Umar, announced that the 10 participants will represent Edo State at the upcoming National Quranic competition in Maiduguri.
Continue to represent Edo State very well. Edo State is known as the heartbeat of the nation, and that means we are good at almost anything. Even when it comes to spiritual, moral matters, we have good people to represent us.
With the preparations made on ground for Saba Cup, we should be able to try our best and emerge victorious with the help of God. We really appreciate this program as it helps us and enables us to learn more of the Quran, and it's a way of encouraging us to do better for future competitions like this.
You're still live with us on the news. We go on a short break now, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. A It's still the 12th report. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, the Nigerian equities market began the week on a bearish note as profit-taking in high-cap stocks led to a 94 billion naira loss in market capitalization, closing Monday at 98.7 trillion naira. The all-share index fell by 148.90 points to 155,496.15. Despite this, the market remains positive with a weekly gain of 3.71% and a year-to-date return of 51.08%. Trading volume dropped 58% to 502.99 million shares, worth 24.94 billion. Ardell Holdings led value trades with 5.63 billion naira, while Axis Holdings stopped in volume. Market breadth was negative with 25 gainers and 34 losers. The British Council, in collaboration with Smedon and supported by the Investment Climate Reform Facility, has launched the Impact Advisory Group, IAG, to promote inclusive business reforms and improve MSME access to finance in Nigeria. The inauguration, held during the National Roundtable in MSME Financing in Lagos, gathered policymakers, financial institutions, and development partners. British Council Country Director Donna McGowan reconfirmed the organization's commitment to women's empowerment and entrepreneurship. A memorandum of understanding was signed between Smedon and IAGF partners, including EFINA and Fate Foundation. Stakeholders pledged collaborative efforts to close Nigeria's MSME funding gap and drive inclusive growth. Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has expressed concern over Nigeria's growing preference for cryptocurrency trading over traditional capital market investments. SEC Director General Emomotimi Agama revealed that over $50 billion in crypto transactions occurred between July 2023 and June 2024, yet fewer than 4% of Nigerian adults invest in formal market. He described the low participation rate, less than 3 million investors compared to 60 million gamblers, as a barrier to economic growth. Agama urged greater financial inclusion, trust building, and reforms to boost retail participation, noting Nigeria's market capitalization to GDP ratio remains low at 30%. And now coming up, hundreds of Cameroonians protest after rival rejects 92-year-old Biya's win. We'll bring you the details after the break. Stay with us. To foreign stories making the rounds. In Central Africa, hundreds of Cameroonians have taken to the streets after President Paul Biya was declared winner of an 8th term, extending his more than 40-year rule. Demonstrations broke out in Douala and Biya's hometown of Garoua, despite restrictions, as security forces moved in to disperse crowds. At least 4 people were reportedly killed in earlier protests over the weekend. Opposition leader Issa Chiroma condemned the results, describing the election as a masquerade rather than a true democratic process.
On tue les élections, ils sont en train de tuer les élections. Non Bissau, Chiroma, on dit non Bissau. Moi j'ai perdu mon temps pour aller voter par rapport à quoi? Alors, je vous demande, pourquoi les gens perdent leur temps pour aller voter? Parce que je vote mon candidat, après il passe, on dit qu'il n'est pas passé. Je veux mon président, c'est ce que je veux. Je veux mon président, c'est tout ce qu'on veut. Nous on n'a pas les armes. On est en route comme ça, on n'a rien. Nous, je ne sais pas pourquoi nous sommes allés voter. Mais on dit au Cameroun de ne plus voter jusqu'à ce que le PS part avant qu'on reprenne le vote au Cameroun.
Let's go down to East Africa, where voting has begun in Zanzibar as early ballots are cast ahead of Tanzania's general elections. About 700,000 registered voters are taking part, choosing both mainland presidential candidates and a local Zanzibari president. Authorities and observers are calling for calm and transparency as the process continues. A full voting across mainland Tanzania is expected later this week, with officials hoping to maintain the peaceful atmosphere seen so far in Zanzibar. Now, in the meantime, Tanzania heads to the polls on Wednesday to elect the president, members of parliament and councillors amid tight security and growing fears of unrest. This year's election marks the most tense political atmosphere in 3 decades of multi-party democracy, with 17 parties fielding 16 presidential candidates. News Central's Bongani Siziba reports.
Both leading contenders closed their campaigns with calls for unity, peace, and stronger voter turnout, a message aimed at calming rising political tensions.
Wito wangu kwenu ndugu zangu wananchi ni wote twende tukapige kura. Unajua toka tumeanza kampeni viwanja ni tele kwa tele. Tunakuja kwa wingi sana. Wingi huu hautokuwa na maana kama hatukuutafsiri ndani ya masanduku. Kwenye viwanja tujae, lakini na masanduku yaende yakajae.
Tunakwenda kuandaa katiba mpya ya Zanzibar itakayoweka uwajibikaji, itakayoweka misingi ya utoaji wa haki, vyombo huru, uwajibikaji pamoja na kuwa na uchaguzi huru. Uchaguzi huru utakurejeshea mwananchi ufalme wako katika nchi hii.
For the first time since multi-party democracy began, the presidential race proceeds without the main opposition parties. Chadema, the largest opposition force, has boycotted polls demanding sweeping electoral reforms. ACT Wazalendo's candidate Mpina was disqualified by the Electoral Commission, further narrowing the field.
Uchaguzi mkuu inatakiwa ushiriki chama tawala na vyama vipinzani. Chama kimoja kikigoma kushiriki katika uchaguzi si tatizo, maana vyama vipinzani vipo vingi tu mbona, na vimekubali kushiriki na vyote vinashiriki kwa ukamilifu kabisa, na chama chetu cha Mapinduzi tunahakika nacho kitashiriki hasa kisawa sawa.
Swala la kususia uchaguzi sio jambo la busara. Inahitajika kwamba kila chama ambacho kinahitaji, ambacho kimepita katika kushiriki, kilitakiwa kushiriki, lakini sio kususia uchaguzi.
Smaller parties remain on the ballot but have historically struggled to win more than 5% of votes. Meanwhile, online campaigns are calling for protest on election day, though analysts doubt widespread participation given past government's crackdown. As Tanzania prepares for vote, many hope the country's democratic ideals will stand firm. In Johannesburg for News Central, Bongani Siziba.
And let's go to East Africa, where the African Union has condemned the reported atrocities and war crimes committed in Sudan's El Fasher following the city's fall to the Rapid Support Forces. AU Commission Chairperson Mahmoud Ali Yusuf expressed outrage over ethnic targeted killings and called for an immediate end to hostilities. The RSF's takeover of El Fasher after an 18-month siege has deepened Sudan's humanitarian crisis, with nearly 12 million displaced and tens of thousands killed. Yusuf urged both the RSF and the Sudanese army to pursue dialogue and allow humanitarian access, stressing that Sudan's conflicts cannot be resolved through military means. Now in Kenya, a small plane carrying 12 people has crashed in the country's coastal region. The aircraft was en route from the tourist area of Diani to Kichwa Tembo in the Masai Mara National Park when it went down early on Tuesday morning. The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority confirmed that all 12 people were on board the aircraft, which crashed around 5:30 a.m. local time. Rescue and investigation teams are currently at the scene to determine the cause of the accident. The incident follows a similar crash in August involving a medical NGO's light aircraft near Nairobi that claimed 6 lives. Authorities say investigations are ongoing, with more details expected in the coming hours. Now, outside the shores of Africa, at least 3 people have lost their lives in Jamaica as Hurricane Melissa, the strongest storm of the year, approaches the island. Authorities are warning residents to brace for heavy rainfall, strong winds, and potential flooding. Emergency services remain on high alert, urging citizens to stay indoors and adhere to safety protocols. Schools, offices, and businesses have closed early as the storm is expected to make landfall within hours. And now to the Middle East. Israeli forces have killed 3 Palestinians during a counter-terrorism raid near the occupied West Bank city of Jenin. According to Israel's defense ministry, the men were members of a suspected terror cell and were targeted by the elite Yamam unit in the village of Kafr Kut. An airstrike reportedly hit a cave used as their hideout, killing all 3 men in their 20s. Defense Minister Israel Katz said the operation reflects Israel's resolve to dismantle militant networks operating in Judea and Samaria. The Palestinian Health Ministry confirmed the deaths as tensions remain high amid renewed violence since the 2023 Gaza war.
الساعة 4 الصبح كنا قوات الاحتلال على مفرق كفر كود معهم جرافة احتلال ونزلوا على واد حسن وسمعنا الصوت هناك قصف واطلاق نار كثيف بكى اشتباكات مسلحة بيناتهم وبقولوا شهود العيان انه في 3 شهداء احتملوا جثمينهم.
And in Tokyo, Japan's new Prime Minister, Sunai Takaichi, has hailed President Donald Trump, calling for what she described as a new golden age in Japan-US relations. Takaichi announced plans to nominate Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize as both leaders signed a key agreement securing critical minerals amid growing tensions with China. President Trump described the Japan-US alliance as being at its strongest level yet, praising Takaichi as one of Japan's greatest leaders. The two also discussed security and trade, with Japan accelerating its defense spending targets in response to regional threats. Trump is expected to meet China's President Xi Jinping later this week to push for progress in ongoing trade negotiations. You're live with us on the 12 Reports. We're going on a short break now, and when we come back, more stories. Do stay with us. Now, I'm sure you've heard it on the news. In Cameroon, the streets of Douala are boiling over. Protesters are pouring out, accusing the government of tilting the electoral process before the presidential results are even announced. The response from security forces has been brutal, with at least 4 people reportedly killed. A little backstory here. I'm sure you know that Paul Biya has been in power since 1982, and that is over 4 decades of one man holding the reins. Now, what should be a celebration of democracy, citizens lining up to cast their vote, is quickly unraveling into suspicion, into anger, and bloodshed. But this is not just a Cameroonian story. It's an African story. We've seen similar flashpoints elsewhere on the continent. Kenya's tense polls, Zimbabwe's disputed counts, Nigeria's heated 2023 elections, where credibility and transparency were fiercely contested. Each time, the same questions arise. Do our votes truly count? Will our voices be respected? Or will democracy remain a promise instead of a practice? The unrest in Cameroon is a reminder that democracy is fragile when leaders treat power as inheritance instead of responsibility. People have always said it. Do not incentivize the power so that people will know that they're doing the job voluntarily. And Africa's young people, who make up the majority of voters from Lagos to Douala to Harare, are watching really, really closely. They're demanding not just elections, but elections that actually matter. Because if the ballot box fails them, the streets will speak for them. And that's your postscript. Now, before we go, let's take a look at what's happening in the world of sports. The Flamingos face Italy in the Under-17 FIFA Women's World Cup round of 16 clash in Morocco. Can they deliver when it matters the most? Meanwhile, the Super Falcons aim to seal 2026 WAFCON qualification against Benin in Abeokuta today. Favor Eto'o will tell us more. Favor, are you ready?
Yes, of course, blessings. Today is the day for our women, both the Under-17 and the senior women's national team. A lot at stake. 2026 qualification African Cup of Nations ticket. And for the women's, quarterfinal place is all in stake for this conversation. But we're talking about more during in the game.
Definitely. Thank you, Favor. And you've heard it. Do stay tuned for In the Game. Well, that's all on the news at the 12 report. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number showing on the screen because we want to see what you see. Do well to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Masugu.